famously said, 50-50 or bust, right? And, you know, and I meant that in every financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't have shit and I need him to be 100. The extreme anxiety, the anxiety attacks, the being hyper-focused on efficiency and time and being fiercely independent are trauma responses.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I know you guys haven't seen me for a while. I have been feeling so bad, y'all, and that's the reason why I have not been uploading any videos. However, I am feeling so much better now. We thank God for that. And if you're new here, my name is Mimi. Please make sure that you subscribe, like, share this video. Make sure that you turn on your notification bell in order for you to be the first one to see the videos. This channel belongs to my husband and I. However, it's gonna be mostly me because my husband has other obligations, so it's going to be me. Okay, so please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video. Today the video that I'm bringing is a conversation between Gabrielle Union and another young lady. I believe she went on a podcast. I didn't see the full video. I haven't seen the full videos yet. I saw a couple clips because I believe like a couple years back she talks about how she's married and she's paying 50% of the bills, and that's what made her comfortable, and that is okay because whatever makes a woman feel comfortable, it's fine, okay? But however, recently she has changed her mind or her mindset completely. So I saw like a clip of the conversation. I didn't see the whole thing, so we're gonna watch it together. And just so you know, on this channel we give our Christian based perspective on things. So please, it's a judgment zone free. At the same time, it's a judgment zone area as well, okay? So I might not say anything, but my facial can tell it all. So let's get right into the video, guys.
I'm sitting down with the actor, producer, author extraordinaire, Miss Gabrielle Union. And so let's get into today's conversation with Gabrielle. Gabrielle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. So I don't think you know this, but I'm about to tell you. It's a really cool full circle moment to have you on the show because 2 years ago, I was one of your Women Crush Wednesday posts. You shouted me out and the podcast, and it just helped so many people find this community. So to have you here is so exciting and full circle.
It's so funny because I was like, I feel like I know her from somewhere, but I didn't want to be a weirdo and go in. But
Not
yes,
at all.
no, you're doing the Lord's work. I'm a fan.
Oh my God.
I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to get to thank you in person. I'm sure I thanked you in the comments or whatever, but to get to thank you in person is even more special.
No, it's my pleasure. That's what the WCWs are all about. And hopefully more people can enjoy the work that you're doing, which is really digging in, in ways that we don't often get to explore.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I would actually love to kick things off by talking about reading.
Yes.
I'm a big reader. I know you're a big reader.
Yes.
We know you as a writer, but I want to get to know you as a reader. What your reading style is. What is your favorite genre to dig into?
Oh, historical fiction. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm a student of history. I love learning. I would say it's a problem, but I'm a dork in that way. If you ever see me just on my phone, I'm just Googling random facts. Ancient civilizations, it doesn't matter. I'm just a really big history buff, and I love fiction. Mm-hmm. And if you can combine both of my loves, get out of here. Like, I'm just happy. I'm just happy in a corner somewhere reading.
Yeah, I agree. I also love historical fiction because it is that element of getting to learn, but wrapping it in a story where it's fun to follow, and it just is so fun to read. What about format? Are you an audio person? Do you love a physical book? Do you take your Kindle with you everywhere?
I like a physical book. I love going to bookstores. I love going to libraries. I was a librarian assistant in high school. So I just have such a deep respect for actual books. I like the smell of the pages. I like to take care of the spines. Like I'm a book aficionado. Certain books I like an audiobook. So I listen to Michael McDonald's autobiography. I listen to Mariah Carey's autobiography. I listen to Britney Spears' autobiography. So those kinds I kind of want to hear, especially when they do their own. It's really exciting to hear it rather than me putting a tone on their voice that probably doesn't exist. So yeah. But otherwise, no, I want the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel similarly. I do like listening to memoirs that are read by the author, kind of like you said, hearing their voice. But there is also something about either having a book, I do love a Kindle too, but having that be the sole thing that I'm focused on, because I think so much of listening to audio is about multitasking, but I kind of want a single task. I want to only focus on the book I'm reading.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that, because everyone it's like, oh, I'm being efficient. I'm like, no, it kind of feels jittery. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It feels also kind of, in a sense, a little disrespectful. I don't know. When I'm writing, I want you to focus on what I've written. And when I'm reading, it's just the respect for the author and the words. I don't know. Like, I appreciate syntax. Like, the extra things that people put into their work that, I don't know, can change a phrase, can change the whole meaning. And I find that when I am multitasking, because do I work out and listen to Michael McDonald? Yes, I do. And I absolutely miss stories. Absolutely. So I had to go back and, re-listen. So I don't know. I'm one of those people. I'm a purist, I guess, in that way. I also just learned what Apple Pay was in the last year. So I'm also old. So I don't know. It could be a combination of both. You know what I also recently reread was Atonement.
Oh, I've never read that.
I love that book.
Do I need to read it?
I mean, if you're a fan of historical fiction, yeah. I think you'd like it.
Okay, amazing.
Like it. Yeah,
I'll add that to the list. Yeah. Was there a particular book that made you a reader?
I mean, my mom read to us. My parents actually both read to us from as early as I can remember. The book that I love to then read on my own, as my parents are reading, but I'm really reading, is Marvin K. Mooney, Will You Please Go Now, which is like a Dr. Seuss book. And that was my favorite. Yeah. But then probably as I got older, where I was like, I wanted big, chapter books and all of that. Judy Blume, all of the Judy Blume books. And then Coming of Age in Mississippi by Anne Moody, which has really kind of got me more into history and historical biographies. And it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
And I think I was 11 or so.
Yeah.
With Anne Moody.
I love that.
Yeah. A lot of things I write just for me or my group chat. I don't know, a lot of ideas that I just share with my friends that I just like to keep ideas, because I know you release it into Hollywood or into the world, it becomes something else that you lose control over. And I'm a control freak, so there you go.
That makes a lot of sense, though. And I think as a maybe former overachiever, I'm beginning to understand the beauty of sometimes creating things just to create, not even to have them be consumed or measured or judged, but just to do it because being creative can be therapeutic, and also not even worrying about it being good, which is so hard.
And good to who?
Right.
If you made it, it's good to you. Clearly, it came out of your body. It came out of your imagination. Kav loves to paint. Some of her stuff is dark, right? I'm like, why is mommy in a wheelchair? She said, because I would love you, if, wheelchair or, and then she turns it over and I'm not, I can walk now. And she was like, I love you just the same. And I'm like, on Valentine's Day, Dee had set us up with these easels and our paints, and we were, I was being very literal about this beautiful rainbow heart that had this gold surrounding it. And I'm looking over and I'm like, what in the Basquiat is happening right now? And there were layers. I was like, is this mixed media? And it was black in some areas and kind of yellowy gold, but underneath it was this red heart that kind of looked like it was bleeding. And I'm like, what is happening on the playground? Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah.
But the way she described it, it was so different. but she put it up in our house. So everybody who walked in assumed that the dark heart was mine. And, the rainbow, moon, stars, rainbow, heart was hers. And then as she kept having to explain it as different people were coming in, it was like, I didn't do this for you. Like, it makes sense to me. And I was like, should have kept it to ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, should have put it outside to dry. But that's kind of the dream killer part, once it's up for people's interpretation or their opinion or whatever their thoughts may be, you're absorbing that as well. And it kind of can kill the mood, can kill the vision,
Yeah, I feel like a lot gets watered down when we try to make people get it, that some stuff is just not for everybody to get.
It's not for everybody. Or just, if I'm trying to make something that is beliggity, like this is FUBU top down. I'm a very eerily logical, practical, reasonable person. If the note is illogical, impractical, unreasonable, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. Like, we're gonna brawl. And I want you to concede that it was a stupid note. Like, I need you to take it. But for the most part, I don't work with too many people that are just nutty when it comes to notes, or who aren't receptive to the feedback to that note. Most people are like, word, I get it. Okay, yep. Okay, got it. But some people, like, they want to dig their heels in, and I'm like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. And they can't. I'm like, that's all I'm asking. Like, I'm not asking for the moon, the stars, and rainbow. Just make it make sense. And if you're going to come in here and you feel like my voice needs to be heard, that's also another note. Everybody don't need to talk. Like, you really don't. They know you're here. Like, your check's clearing. Like, you don't have to chime in just to make, I don't know what it is, I guess to feel like you're busy and actively engaged, but you could also just not say nothing. Like, that is an option.
That's how I feel about the internet.
More
Not everybody needs to talk.
If I don't like,
Oh my goodness, that's true, because the internet, everybody has an opinion. Oh my gosh, not everything you have to have an opinion about. And if you have an opinion, not everything you have to voice. You don't have to voice anything that comes to your mind. Just a reminder.
like something, I'm scrolling past. To take the time to tell you how much I don't like, sir, ma'am, what am I, I've lost the plot. I don't care.
Especially, I see there's like a lot of people on the media, like, it's just like their job is to, on the internet, to say, like, their job is to troll people, especially if you don't have something positive to say. You can scroll and keep it moving. That's okay, that's fine. You don't have to be negative to people's channel, to people's pages, to people's, TikTok videos and stuff like that. Yeah. If you don't like what someone else is saying, there's like a nice way to, approach it and like let your voice be heard. But if you cannot put it in a nice way, or in a kind way, then it's okay to scroll. Keep it moving.
Most definitely.
I don't care. Like, next.
For sure.
Yeah.
I want to come back to what you said, because you just described yourself as like a very logical person.
Yes.
Do you find yourself having to balance that out a little bit with some of the either having a sense of like wonder, I don't know if that's the right word or if vulnerability is the right word, but also like letting in some room for the squishy stuff?
For me, being logical is being radically transparent. Like, I'm terrible at remembering lies. And at this big age of mine, I don't care what the feedback is. I'm going to be me 1,000,000,000% of the time. And that's all you can ask. That's all I ask of someone. Just please come honest. Like, I don't want to like figure out later that you aren't who you presented yourself to be. And all I ask, decent, reasonable, like reasonable, like nothing. I don't need, big personalities or silent. Like, be reasonable, and whoever you are, be that. So there's some kind of consistency in what we can all expect, but I don't care. But for me, it was freedom to not hold secrets and to be my full self no matter what room I walk into. And it's paid off for me every time.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it would. It felt like it would be an anchor around my ankle. But once I got over that fear, I was like, oh, should have done this years ago. What the hell was I doing?
Was there a moment that helped you release that fear of being your full self?
Well, you're being judged anyway.
Yeah.
You're being judged for whatever lies or whatever thing you're concealing, or, people can sense your energy that is, You're like, oh, I'm getting murdered right now. Like, I'm getting murdered in the comments. But if I'm going to get murdered, I'd rather you I'm going to sink or swim as me, and I'm free. And I don't look at the comments anymore.
For the better.
You know what I mean? Like, usually the first few are people that and follow. So I keep scrolling. I'm going to get exactly what I'm looking for, which is something that I can't get out of my head. So what's the point?
Yeah.
And then now I got to look up your grandma. And now I got to go down to see, like, is this someone I should even be listening to? It never is. It's never it's not like Oprah's in the comments. Like, it's never anybody whose life you may want to have or even be open to their criticism or suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. I've also found that anybody who I either look up to, would want to emulate or learn from usually isn't delivering a message in that way anyway. And the people who are usually the people who I wouldn't want to trade places with if push came to shove. And that's been a good lesson as I get older to learn.
Well, and a lot of people that you look up to, when you finally meet them, you're like, okay, thank you for getting me to this point.
Yes.
And now I will find someone, I will find a new North Star. Yeah, I mean, and I think people are, especially people you haven't met yet, they're good for certain seasons of your life. And then as you grow and expand and your worldview changes, as it should constantly, you find different people. And not everybody needs to be, put in the suitcase.
Yeah. Even, I mean, no pun intended, because I know we're talking about the book / movie, The Idea of You, but I think sometimes we also create an idea of people and who we think they are. And then when they are not that version that we created in our heads, we get really disappointed. And that's a way of like disappointing ourselves.
But why?
Yeah.
There's people I put on pedestals that they could do no wrong. Like, because they were pretty. I'm a sucker for a pretty face. And I was like, oh my God, I think she's got the cure for cancer. And they're like, she's pretty. Like, God, she's great style. Not a good, like, if you met her, I'm like, well, I mean, and I'm just coming up with excuses. I don't know this woman from Adam. I just know that I think she's pretty and she's got great style. And then you meet these people and you're like, damn, you got the same stuff that I'm healing from. No better, no worse. But I got to look a little deeper, or people that you assume are mean, who are will give you the shirt off their back, and the people that you think are generous and amazing and they're Scrooge McDuck and okay in every way that you can imagine that, and it's part of the fun life. Like thinking I could sign up for Barbizon and I was going to be Naomi Campbell. You have to live and learn. Waste your parents' money. But that's life, and now I wait, like there's no pedestals. I don't want to be on one. I don't want to put anyone else on one. I want to leave room for reality. And also that what the moment I meet you or the time that we are exchanging energy, it might not be your best day or mine. And that's fair. I can't label you as anything. In our very limited experience, this is what.
That is true. Like, it's just so important to not have expectation of who you think someone should be in your mind, and also like it's just like a fine line, and also being able to give people grace, because like she said, you might met someone and it might have not been the person good day, so you just like have this you already have this perspective of that person in your mind. Like you already have this kind of view of that person in your mind, and that person was just having a bad day. So it's important to give grace, but at the same time, not having an expectation of who you think someone should be in your mind. It's like a fine line.
This was my takeaway. But we're all human. Like, we're not going to hit it out of the park every day, you know? But I still obsess over a group of cheerleaders that came up to me 1,000 years ago in Vegas after I'd had a fight with my ex-husband, like on the casino floor. And I think they had just had a cheerleading competition. It was right after Bring It On. And they were like, it's us! Oh, but I'm crying out, it's not the right time, girls. And I still think about the fact that I can, this was, it's been, what, 25 years since it's come out? Like, so over 20 years. It bothers me that I didn't give them what I thought that they deserved, or who they thought I was. It bothered me that they were disappointed. But I mean, that's life, you know?
Yeah. It's being human.
It's being human.
Yeah.
You're going to disappoint people a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to get it wrong a lot.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
Give grace, receive grace. That's it. That's a tough one, but yeah.
It is hard.
I'm working on that.
Yeah, same, honestly. When I was younger, I used to be like judgy McJudgerson about everything, particularly in my teens and 20s. I just used to judge a lot, judge my friends, judge. And I wasn't necessarily wrong in some of the assessments that I made, but my delivery, like, did it need to be said out loud? Did it need to be said from me? But I learned that a lot of the judgment that I was portraying onto other people was really me judging myself. And as I've learned to be less judgmental of myself, I've become less judgmental of other people. And it's been a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. That you're the one.
Yeah.
That you're the problem.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
It's hard.
Often.
You're like, it's me.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Yeah. No, that sucks. And absolutely, we all judge everyone. Some of us are just a little bit more vocal about it, and we can, turn a phrase a little more comically, and, we might attract a larger crowd. But we're all judging each other. That's how you have to judge to figure out how to have friends. You know what I mean? Like, you're making constant assessments of people all the time, for better or for worse. And
Yeah, because even the Bible tell you that you can judge, because a lot of people like to mention the part where the Bible talk about not judging, but they forget about that the Bible lets you know that you can judge, but make sure that the cup that you measured to judge with, make sure that that same cup would be used for you as well. So it's not a bad thing to judge, but at the same time, if you're judging, be expected to be judged as well. Mm-hmm.
start when we're kids. We're like, that kid doesn't share it. I don't want to be with that friend. Like, these are judgment calls constantly. You go in for an interview and you're like, okay, I'm getting interviewed, but I'm also judging you. Like, I'm taking this in. Or you ever gone in to get your hair done and your hairstylist's hair is not done? And you're like, you know what I mean? Or like, yeah, I had an orthodontist that had a wonky tooth and I couldn't get over it. I never went back. It's like, well, how can I trust you? Like, but these are judgments that we make that can help us, save us, protect us, guide us, but also make our world a lot smaller. And you cut people out that, that could really impact your life for the best. But yeah, I judge. I judge. I'm going to save that commentary for my group chat. I'm not letting it out in the world. But absolutely, it's life. But it's not, for me, it's not, I don't go to cruelty.
Right.
I don't go to evil, like little demonic demons. Like, but if your ankles are ashy, I may notice. I may send it to the group chat.
Yeah.
Karma is going to come back because I'm going to forget, and somebody's going to zoom in on my ashy ankles and put it in their group chat or online. It always comes back fast too. Karma's like,
it does.
Yeah.
That mirror.
Fast.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn it. I should have been concentrating on my own ankles.
You had a video last year that I think you posted on TikTok that came on my For You page at the perfect time. It was advice for girlies in their 30s. It was such a good video.
Yeah.
I turned 35 last year, and I spent most of last year in crisis about it because I thought that meant that I was going to like fall off a cliff and shrivel up, and I don't know. And then I turned 35 and was fine, and nothing happened. But I loved that video so much, and so many of the things you said are reminding us that like life is not a race. There's one part you said, stop lying to your therapist. I personally felt attacked by that one.
Listen, they're too expensive.
I know.
Like you have, your hour, and sometimes I do double sessions. The first hour I might be lying. But no, it's like you want help. You go there for help. You go there to figure out how to be your best self, and you can't get there if you lie.
Yeah, or omit. That's what I do.
The massive omissions. Like, girl, there's a big chunk that's missing, and you can't become the person that you've dreamed of lying to yourself. And certainly, if you're lying to yourself, you're definitely gonna be lying to your therapist
for sure.
Yeah.
If you could go back and it's too expensive.
No, it's too expensive.
I'll do better when I go on Friday.
I'm out of network too. Like, I'm not lying to this woman. I'm not
telling her at all.
No.
If you could go back and talk to your 30-something self, what would you tell her?
Now, knowing what I know, freeze your eggs. That's for me personally. Not as an age thing, but it was going to take me, now I know, I have the proper diagnoses. It was going to take me longer to kind of end up where I still am. I probably still would have had to use a surrogate, but I could have started the process earlier. So it's a different kind of heartbreak. I could have made peace with it a lot earlier, sooner. That divorce isn't going to kill you. That was like a biggie. Like, public failure, public humiliation feels like death, because it kind of is a death. It's an ego death, but that ego needed to go anyway. So don't fear not.
I don't know. That lady don't even look a day older than 30 years old. Like, Gabrielle don't even look a day older than 30 years old. It's crazy to know, like, she's older than 30. She looks so beautiful, y'all.
Oh, the people will move on. The murder hornets will come. The river will turn red. I don't know, the aliens and the orbs or whatever. People move on. Like, you're not as important as you want to feel like you are. And everyone makes, mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes are whole ass marriages. And it's the shame and the fear that keeps you in it longer than necessary. It's probably the shame and the fear that allowed you to accept the ring or go on the third date. The fear of being alone or not chosen or whatever. I would have definitely told her, like, stop now. Stop. No, don't. Like, making good jambalaya does not necessarily make for a great husband. We should have just been friends, but you couldn't have told me that. You feel like you see all of your friends getting married and you see.
Ooh. That's something that I want to talk about as well, because I'm seeing a lot of people. Let me say this as a married person in my, I would say, mid-20s. Marriage is not a joke. Marriage is literally, I would describe marriage as seeing a part of yourself that you have not addressed. Like, that's literally like a part of yourself that you have not addressed. That's what you're seeing in your partner. So imagine you can be a good person, but there's part of yourself that you have yet to address. And then you have to address those parts in marriage. Like, you have to see, it's like a reflection of yourself. It's not easy. And I'm seeing, like, there's a trend of women, running after marriage. And, it's better to be single than to marry wrong. You don't want to marry wrong. It's better for you to be single than to marry, because I can't imagine marrying someone else than my husband. Like, I don't see how that would. I just don't see it working out with anybody else than my husband. So, like, it's important to be very careful because the person that you're gonna pick as your spouse gonna dictate literally the rest of your life. Like, it's gonna dictate like your success or your failure in life, literally. So you all need to pray God and work on yourself. Go to therapy. I would say, especially if you're from the Caribbean or if you're from, I would say, the African girlies as well. I don't care how good you think your parents were or are, there are some trauma. And who, baby, you don't want to address those trauma into a marriage, especially if you're gonna marry someone who don't have no patience or someone who don't know what it's like to base the marriage foundation on God. So be careful. Don't be brush rush. Ask yourself that question, especially let me talk to the women. Ask yourself, are you able to submit? When I say submit, are you able to lay your life into a man's hand? Are you able to let go of control? Because when you're single, you have the control. You do whatever you want, whenever you want. You go wherever you want. You talk however you want. But when you get into marriage, you can no longer do those things. Are you ready to let go of those things? And not just saying it just to say it. Think about it. Think about, are you let go? Are you ready to let go of those things before you run after marriage? And I would say that please run after Jesus. Do not run after marriage because when you run after Jesus, marriage will come along. But if you're running after marriage, you're not running after Jesus, you're not running after a relationship with God, baby, God created marriage. And that's the reason why you see like there are so many divorces. And it's why because a lot of people don't know that God created marriage. Like everything revert back to God. So when it comes to marriage, God created all of us, right? But we have free will. We pick and choose and do whatever we want. We can do that in marriage, but God created marriage. Marriage is something that God created. That's the founder. Like the foundation has to be based on God. Yes, there are people in marriage work out. They're not Christian or they're not like they don't have a relationship with God, but it's very rare. It's very rare. So do not risk your life into thinking that, oh, you're gonna get into marriage and then you're gonna do the work after, you're gonna chase God after. Don't make that mistake. But I know I'm rambling a lot, but let's get back to the video.
See them starting to have families and their careers are amazing. You're like, oh my God, I am not just a little loser, like a loser. It feels like there's a neon loser sign over your head, and there's not. That's the only person who sees that is you. Absolutely, the only person who sees that is you, and perhaps family or friends that you need to cut off anyway.
Good reminders. Turn off the neon sign.
Turn it off. Like, first of all, it's just you, and you're killing it. Even if you just got up today and brushed your teeth, though I have many a day, not brushed nor flossed, and because I just didn't have it, but I opened my eyes. Because when I wanted to just, maybe if I go to sleep and I just don't wake up, that's best. But you wake up, it's a win. It's a win. And that might be it for the day. Just opening your eyes. But we have to take every single win. Because that really might be your win for the week. But maybe the next week, now we're brushing, we're flossing, like we might, I don't know. Turn our camera on the Zoom. I don't know. But there's things to shoot for, and this is not the end. It's not the end. Feels like it. It's not. It's really not. You will live to see another day. Until you aren't. And all that time that you wasted thinking the world hates you, or it's over, or you're a loser, or no one's going to choose you or love you or whatever, I've lost friends earlier than I had imagined. And I lost my good girlfriend to metastatic breast cancer. And so she was aware the end was coming, and all the things that she hadn't done, all the things that she put off because I gotta have this many years in my career, and I gotta do this and this. I need the perfect apartment. And when it was the end, she was like, none of this shit mattered. None of it mattered. And the only thing she was really committed to was bleaching her mustache. She was like, I'm not going out like this. But the things that mattered weren't anything that she lost sleep over. Not one thing. And she died at 35. Mm-hmm. And all of the things that feel like they could break you, have broken you. You are dust. You are broken to, like, you can't even put it back together. That's what you feel like. I can't come back from this. I'll never come back from this. Whether it's a loss of a relationship or a job or your health or, hair. That's not it. It's not. And I'm from the other side. Like, I'm notes from the other side. You'll be okay. Keep going. Celebrate your little wins. Big wins, medium-sized wins. Now I look back, like I'm looking back at my younger self. I'm looking back at my younger friends, coworkers, and I'm like, oh my God, but you have to go through it to know that, okay, feels like it's killing me, but it's not. And then you see them a year or two later and they're like, girl, I'm like, I told you. It wasn't the end of the world. And look at you, the life that you wanted, that you thought was about to be denied you. And it's not how it turned out.
No, that's such a beautiful reminder. Thank you for that.
I remind myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to remind myself.
Even sometimes when you're the messenger, I know sometimes I will say things because I need to hear it. And if other people benefit from it, great. But sometimes even as the messengers, we need to hear it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And asking for help doesn't make you helpless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It does make you helpless.
Have you had to learn how to ask for help?
Yeah, because I know all the answers. Not like I have to ask for help from a therapist, but, I famously said 50-50 or bust, right? And, and I meant that in every financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't have shit and I need him to be 100. And I realized that so much of, my anxiety, I was diagnosed with PTSD after being sexually assaulted at 19. The extreme anxiety, the anxiety attacks, the being hyper-focused on efficiency and time and being fiercely independent are trauma responses. And when I started to really unpack that, a couple years ago, I was a part of my girlfriend Octavia Spencer's show, Truth Be Told, and it was about girls in the Bay Area where I was sexually assaulted, Black girls, brown girls in the Bay going through this. And there was the culmination was on the courthouse steps of the Alameda County Courthouse, the same courthouse I testified in front of the grand jury. And something in me broke. Just broke. And I'm not even one of those people who can cry on cue, child. I'm like, bring in the menthol. But something in me broke. And it felt wild. I am a very controlled person. And I was going home every day crying to my husband. And he's like, who is this person? And I was remembering smells, sounds, feelings that my brain, thank God, had blocked out for... it was 92. So how many years is that? It's going to be 33 years. Had blocked out. And it came back in a whoosh. And I realized so much more about myself and what I survived and the power of your brain and the power of your body. But I was ready to finally deal with all of it and start the work on releasing the new things that came up. But part of that work that I'm still working on is that trauma response. Timing myself doing the dishes like timing everything. Like, and when people are late, it's, I mean, it's rude, but it makes me feel like you hate me, that you want something terrible to happen to me. It's not just, you know, you got caught in traffic. It's, you want something terrible to happen to me. Because as long as I can control time, as long as, you know, as my brain is constantly moving and I'm thinking of every scenario, and people are like, oh, you're so quick-witted. I'm like, no, I thought about this question a billion times. It's a trauma response. It's never wanting to be so out of control. I don't have control over what is happening to my body. And 50-50 is, I'm not going to be vulnerable enough to trust you with 100% of anything. Not my heart, not my cash, not my, you know, my energy. And when I started to really address that, and I was like, do you want to pay the whole mortgage? I thought I was about to die. I had such anxiety. Like, I was crying, I was shaking. And he was like, yeah, you insisted on that. I was like, he's like, I thought it made you feel better. I'm like, it did. And right now I want to take it back, but let's just try for a month. And I was like, I couldn't, like, it felt like there was something blocking in my, you know, from even swallowing or breathing. It felt crazy. Now it sounds crazy to be like, you, Mr. NBA superstar, who made a bazillion more amount of money than I do, can pay the mortgage. Because I hate the feeling of releasing that to someone. And you release that to someone, chaos can happen. And so these are baby steps. Now, did I settle on about 35% of the more, you know, instead of 50? Sure. But, you know, I'm trying to, okay, you got it. And it's brought us closer, because he knows it's not about whether he can afford it. It's being vulnerable enough to be open enough to know that I'm okay. I'm okay as his wife. I'm okay. He's okay as my husband. I'm okay in this family. I'm okay in this home. I deserve it. And
this is the part that I've watched, the clip that I've seen on on social media. I just want to say this: hyper independence in the Black community is killing the Black women. Most of us, if 90% of Black women, most of us are hyper independent, and it's not good for us. It's created a lot of anxiety. We always in a rush. We always nagging. We always not at peace. We always I don't know. It's like we always have something to do. I can't remember when last I see, like, kind of like that's the reason why you don't see a lot of us as Black women are soft, feminine, because it's like our brain are constantly going and going and going, and it's not okay. I am glad that Gabrielle able to, you know, kind of change her mindset. And with me, I know that I'm young too, and I've realized a lot of things. It don't take rocket science for me to understand things and to realize things. I just want to say this, right? As a woman, if you are single, it's okay for you to keep yourself busy. But at the same time, it's okay for you to go to college. It's okay for you to go to university. It's okay for you to go get that degree. But at the same time, sister, it's okay for you to rest. It's okay for you to go on a vacation and you don't have to think about anything else. It's okay for you to rest, sister. It's okay for you to take a day off. You don't have to be working like a slave every day at work. And that's the reason why we always so anxious. And I realize that anxiety in Black women versus other communities, it doesn't show up the same way. With us, we become masculine. We just become the controller of everything. We talk a lot, we nag a lot, we rowdy, like we say in the Caribbean. Um, uh, yeah, depression, those things are showing up in us in different ways. And it's okay for you to rest. It's okay. It's okay. Like, go to school. I always advise young lady, go to school, go to college, get a degree, you know, get a job. But at the same time, do not, I feel like it's also like a money management in the community where we always trying to live above our means, and we trying to have like certain status, or like, we want to look a certain way, we want to come out a certain way, that if you look at other communities, let's say for the white people, for an example, like a lot of these people don't care for the hair, they don't care for the Jordans, they don't care for the Nike like we do. And those people are able to, like, a lot of them are able to manage their money, a lot of them live a regular life, and it's okay. Like, I know, like, in the black community, a lot of us don't come from a lot, when we get there, when we get that degree, when you get that job, we just want to, do, have some status symbol or something like that. You don't have to do that. It's okay for you to continue to live a life that is a normal life. Nobody tell you to live like a life where, you look dead poor. Like, no. But you can live a normal life. Like, in life, everything is a balance. You have a balance between good and bad. Like, everything is a balance. You don't have to do it too much. Too much of everything is not good, and too little of everything is not good as well. So you have to find like the fine line, you know so with what she's saying, hyper independence is a trauma response. There's no way. And a lot of people like to say, oh well, when you marry, the man can leave, and at any time you got to make sure you have your own bag. Let me give my take on that. When you are single women, yes, go to school, get your education, make sure you have a job, make sure you have money. You have money, but don't put it in your mind that you have this money in case when you get in a relationship, or when you get in marriage, that in case your husband do something to you, then you will have that money to run away or support yourself. Like, the negative thoughts that is going through our mind, like, as black people, is crazy. Because don't put in your mind that it's like you literally stand in the ground for divorce before you even get divorced, before you even get married. You make your money, this money, okay, it's on your saving, and make sure that someone who's gonna approach you is on the, like, higher level than you. Even if you're all on the same level, you're working towards something, it's okay. Higher level than you, it's okay. But uh, don't go too high to the point where this man is just gonna use and abuse you. Because I know there are bad men, there are also good men, and I have one of them, so I know there are also good men out there. Okay, so you have your money, savings, you have a savings, you all come together. He noticed that you already have something you already had something going for yourself, yes. But at the same time, we have to go back to tradition, where men were provider. Men were coming to your parents' house to ask your parents' permission to marry you. So when he asks your parents' permission to marry you, that man is responsible for you, honey. That man is responsible to. Back in the days, men was providing shelter, everything, the basic needs. He has to be able to provide that for you. If he's not able to provide, I know the economy is bad, but at the same time, y'all can make it work. If he's not able to provide the basic needs for you, then what's the point? if you already went to college, you educated, and also being educated is not giving you the ground to be um, masculine, to be unsubmissive, to be full of ego, pride as a woman, because a lot of our sisters, that's what it's all about. Go to college and, I have my degree, I have my money, blah, 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 blah. That does not give you the ground, because, first of all, men don't care about that, because he knows, like, God built them as a creator. He doesn't care what you have. You just have it in a way where if something happened to your husband, God forbid, you'll be able to help, because you are made to be the helper. I am talking to the married people, the people who would like to get married. Okay, so if you don't not you would not want to get married, this is not for you. You can, you know go to the next video. But my thing is, as a woman, you already had your things going. You're not supposed to be sitting around and be lazy, because if you don't have a man, then why are you sitting around being lazy for? No, seize whatever opportunity your country gives. That's it. But at the same time, do it to a limit where you're not overwhelming. You're not overwhelming yourself. You're not anxious. You're not on a timer, always going, always going. Okay. And then when you get married, that man is responsible for you. Yes, there's a possibility that something can happen. Most of the time, it's women who leave the marriages. So you might wanna end the marriage. Okay, there's a possibility that can happen, but at the same time, that man responsible to help you get back on your feet. Yes, there are abusive men. Nobody tell you to stay in abusive or a miserable marriage, honey. Nobody is advising you to do that. I will run if he's beating on you, if he's mentally abusing you, physically, emotionally. Run for your life, far. Because the Bible called that man to love you like Jesus loved the church, and Jesus did not abuse the church. So that being said, do not come into marriage thinking that you want to be boss independent, because you already planning an escape. You already planning whenever a divorce, whenever something happen, then you have that money in case he divorces you or something like that. And a lot of your women, a lot of y'all need to humble yourself. Let that man pay for the stuff. It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to depend on him. Whatever else, if you're working and he's working, whatever you're working on, it's for you to put aside to build generational wealth. Whatever money that you're making, it's for you to be able to make more money. You are his helper. And whatever he is giving you after he paid the bills, it's for you to be able to double it. Is he gonna ask for that? No, he don't ask for that. But you can find a way to be creative with it without overwhelming yourself. And people like to say, "Oh yeah, look at our parents; they were miserable because they were dependent on our daddy." Honey, what about the women? Let me. What about the women that the husband paid all the bill and they are the one in the house making the decisions? When I say making the decision, I mean the husband run everything to them. You don't think about that? Hmm? The husband bring paid the whole paycheck to her. Hmm? So I think people need to look at the bright side of everything. Yes, the world is messy. Yes, there are bad men out there, but there are also good men out there. So with all saying, "Oh, you cannot depend on the man," blah blah blah, you're not supposed to depend on the man, baby. If you cannot depend on the man, do not get into marriage. Simple. Your man is not dependable. Do not get into marriage, because paying 50% of the bill and then you coming home to do the household, it's not for the weak. That's I don't wish that on anybody. And that's why a lot of women in marriage look old, and because, okay, like, things are so expensive. You can find a way. You can find a way. Live a regular life. You don't have to have the latest bag. You don't have to have the latest shoe. You don't have to have the latest hair. Now you under that wig looking wrinkly and old because you stressing yourself to work while your husband work and paying the bills. You stressing yourself to work so hard so you can buy that hair or so you can help him pay the bills. Baby, that's not how it works. But yeah, let's get back.
I'm okay. And no matter how much I want to try to control time or people or every situation by overthinking about every single thing that could possibly happen that never happens, I'm not any safer. I'm not any further along. I'm not. If anything, I've made my life and my world smaller. And so I'm trying to expand my heart, expand all of the notions of what vulnerability can look like. And I'm saving a lot of money, really, is what it gets down. No, but it feels good to, I don't know.
Exactly. See, now she's saving a lot of money. She can, whatever she's saving, she can spend it on herself, or she can spend it on her husband. She can spend it on the house. She can spend it on the kids. This 50-50 thing in our community need to die. It needs to die because other communities are not doing that. And also, if you cannot trust somebody, do not marry that person, because marriage is you putting your life into someone else's hand. You putting your life into your wife's hand. You putting your life into your husband's hands. So if you cannot trust your partner, do not walk down the aisle, do not walk to the court, do not walk down the altar to that person, and do not go ask for somebody's daughter. If you cannot trust that person, do not go walk with someone's son. If you cannot trust him, what's the point? You cannot be vulnerable. You just gonna be in a marriage frustrated, and you're gonna be frustrated 24/7. You're gonna be anxious. You need to the bill. Oh, it's the first of the month. No, baby. Jesus didn't die for that. All right.
I want to relinquish some of the things that I really thought kept me safe. It's like my security blanket. Mm-hmm. My accountant is like, girl, get a blanket. Like, get a weighted blanket if you need to. But it's baby steps, and I don't have all the answers. And
I'm just so happy for her. You can tell, like, she's glowing. She's looking younger than ever. She's happy because now she got more money in her pocket. She don't have to do 50-50 anymore. And I am so happy because her husband is a good husband, because there are husband out there, like, her husband wanted her to see for herself. He did not try to say, oh, babe, like, I don't want you to do it. I don't want you to do it. Because my husband is like that as well. Because I would want to do something, and it would be like, you know what, babe, I don't think that is good for your mental. I think that is going to be too much for you. But me being me, I would say, I'll do it anyways. And he just step back. He's like, okay. And then whenever I see the consequence, I'll be coming back. I'm like, baby, please, and he's like, just come here, give me a hug. And then he's like, I told you don't do it. Lord, now let me handle it. I told you let me handle it. Now let my man handle it. Okay? All right.
I said it so definitively, on my boys' podcast.
I remember that.
50-50. And the reaction was wild to me. I'm like, everybody doesn't do this? I mean, obviously I know there's people who don't do this, but the reaction was so aggressive. And for me, it felt like empowerment. You know what I mean? And not just mine. Because it was like, when you've been loved conditionally, when you have a couple nickels more than somebody else, people change how they treat you, and they want to be around you, and they will shift and change their notions of love to be in your world. And it sucks. It hurts. It hurts so badly when it's family or your friends or and I never wanted to do that to him. I never wanted him to feel that way. And he's like, I don't. He's like, I have a lot more than you.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay. And I'm okay of taking care of you. I was like, okay. Yeah. Okay. So we don't have to split vacation? He's like, no, we're splitting vacation. But yeah, it's a different world. It's not a matter of can you. It's can you allow your heart to be kind of, in my words, tossed up, but knowing it's going to be caught on the cushioniest cloud of love and devotion and compassion and care that exists. Because I didn't think that was a thing. You don't see it a lot. Certainly, we're not highlighting that. But yeah, he's provided a very beautiful cloud of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
See, that is a safe space to be. That is a safe space. So, young women, do not let social media bring, especially my Black sisters. I know we are so independent, like our parents grew us up to be so independent. But do not let that independency, the social media, brainwash you into thinking that you should be providing for yourself or you should be going half and half with that man. Then he's gonna feel like he's out of place, because what's the point of having him if you out here providing for yourself, or if you out here trying to match whatever he's trying to give you? What is the point? So yeah, it does not work for everybody though, because some people, it depends on the men that you married to. That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all gotta be picking men who's generous and providers, because the man can be a provider and he's not generous. Okay, and the man can be generous, he's not a provider. So you gotta be careful. Okay, but I recommend both generous and provider first and generous. Okay, I want my Black sisters to come out of the shackle of I have to pay 50% of the bill and he has to pay 50% of. That's your roommate. You both working, you investing your money, and he's paying the bills, and then you'll come together with whatever you invest, whatever that you are investing, you'll come together and build and make generational wealth and build inheritance for the kids. To pass them to the kids. Okay? All right.
And what I appreciate about you sharing that too is I think sometimes people think everything is black and white. So because you had a certain arrangement or a certain stance at one point, it must mean that forever, when it's like, no, things change. As you heal, as you evolve, as you lean more into vulnerability, you can also change how you feel about something, and it's okay.
It's okay. I mean, like, I've changed my mind about all kinds of things. You meet people, you read things, you go places, and you're like, oh, shift. And it doesn't have to be like an aha, moment. It's aha inside. But I felt like I needed to update people. Like, it's a trauma response, wanting to be that controlled and boxed into my version of what it is to be safe. And safety can look 1,000 different ways.
Yeah. Sometimes when we build those walls up for safety or to keep what we think is harm out, we can also keep love out too.
Love and amazing people and parts of the world that we have been told lies about. We're given about who we should be as Americans, who we should be as women, who we should be as Black women, as Black people. It's so limited. And a book, a podcast, an article, a person, I don't know, a song, it can change everything in an instant. And we have to be open to that.
Gabrielle, thank you so much for joining me today. I loved this conversation and just appreciate how much you shared with us.
No, thank you. And it's my pleasure.
I really enjoyed this conversation because it was so calm, peaceful, insightful, very put together. So I hope you learned something as well. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I will continue to upload videos for you guys. Please make sure that you subscribe, like, share this video.